You use some of Canada's biggest companies every day, charging your phone, checking your social media feed, buying groceries, insuring and fueling your car, and doing your day-to-day banking. Have you ever thought about investing in them? And stay to the end of this video where I'll show you a simple way of getting invested in them. Let's start with an industry we all rely on, telecoms. Telecom companies are important because they provide the communications backbone that underpins key sectors such as retail and financial services, making them integral to Canada's economic performance. Canada's big three telecom companies, that's Rogers, Bell, and Telus, control 90% of Canada's retail mobile market, a dominant position that delivers stable revenue streams and consistent pricing power. That results in predictable cash flows for investors. Canadian telecom companies are known for their attractive and reliable dividends. In fact, companies like BCE and Telus have a track record of payouts supported by steady revenue growth. As a non-discretionary industry, the telecom sector is deemed less vulnerable to economic downturns compared to other industries. According to the Canadian Telecommunications Association, the industry supports 782,000 jobs in Canada, and the market is estimated to grow to $68.3 billion in 2025, according to Mordor Research. Think of it this way. With more than 35 million wireless subscribers and a growing population at just over 41 million, telecom companies could be the ones to follow for future growth. Now, on to another crucial industry, energy. Canada is the world's fourth largest oil producer, generating more than 5 million barrels per day. Energy companies drive a significant portion of our economy, contributing nearly 10% of Canada's GDP. And it's not just the producers. Canada also has a massive pipeline infrastructure, transporting oil and gas from Western Canada to markets across the country and beyond. That's why Global X offers two targeted energy ETFs. NRGY provides exposure to Canada's largest oil and gas companies, helping investors tap into this critical sector. PPLN focuses on Canadian oil and gas midstream pipeline companies, which play a vital role in energy transportation and infrastructure, generating steady revenue through long-term contracts. Through these ETFs, you can get exposure across all streams of the Canadian energy sector. Why would you want that? Well, each stream offers different potential benefits. For instance, midstream, like the pipeline's exposure in PPLN, typically experiences less volatility, as their revenue is anchored by long-term contracts rather than fluctuating commodity prices. Next, let's talk about utilities. Utilities provide essential services like electricity and water. These companies have historically been known for their stability and consistent dividend payouts, making them a go-to sector for defensive investors. UTIL offers exposure to Canada's largest utility companies, including electricity providers and infrastructure operators, making it an attractive option for investors looking for reliable cash flows and income potential. On to another pillar of the Canadian economy, grocery stores. Canada's grocery sector is led by major players like Loblaws, Metro, and Sobeys, creating economies of scale and competitive advantages. In 2023, Canada's largest grocers, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Metro, collectively reported more than $111 billion in sales and more than $3.86 billion in profits. Here's how these major players performed last year. Food is a necessity. Everyone has to eat, right? And Canadians prioritize food spending, providing steady revenue streams for grocery stores even in uncertain times. The average Canadian family is expected to spend just under $17,000 on food shopping this year, according to new research, and the grocery market was worth $111.9 billion last year, according to IBIS World Research. And as food prices rise, grocery retailers can pass on costs to consumers, ensuring their margins remain intact. That makes grocers a handy hedge against inflation and resilient during economic downturns. And 76% of the market is accounted for by the big three retailers, plus Dollarama and Couche-Tard. Now, let's dive into another corner of Canada's economy, the insurance sector. You pay to insure your car and home against unforeseen events, and Canada is ranked 8th in terms of overall premium values in the world insurance market, employing 300,000 people, and in 2024, writing $114.4 billion US worth of premiums, which is forecasted to grow by 2029. Just like Canada's big banks, the insurance sector has big names too, such as Manulife, Great-West Life, and Intact Insurance. Here's how those companies fared in 2024. So, why should it matter? Well, it's a defensive sector. Life and property insurance are essential products, ensuring steady demand regardless of economic conditions, and an aging Canadian population is likely to drive sustained demand for life insurance and wealth insurance products. And for income-focused investors, insurers such as Manulife, Sun Life, and Intact Financial are known for paying reliable dividends. Let's also take a look at another major Canadian sector, our banks. Our banking industry is dominated by 6 major institutions: RBC, TD, BMO, CIBC, Scotiabank, and National Bank. And their dominance isn't just in Canada. A number of banks have impressive operations in the US and in other global regions. In addition to being a strong and reliable bastion within Canada's markets, they're also prized for their stable and consistent dividends. Together, they represent about 17% of the value of all 750 plus companies listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And in 2024, Canadian banks outperformed the TSX 60, highlighting the value and growth that the largest financial institutions can deliver. So there you have it. Canadian banks, utilities, energy, pipelines, groceries, telecom, and insurance. Some of the key sectors that drive our economy. And with the Global X Best of Canada ETF suite, you can officially tap into these market leaders. Why consider this suite of ETFs? Featuring concentrated portfolios, the Best of Canada ETF suites could be attractive for investors looking to get exposure to some of Canada's economic leaders, get exposure to sectors focused on offering access to essential services, and tend to perform consistently, even in changing economic conditions. Canadian companies, particularly in sectors like telecom, groceries, and insurance, often have consistent cash flows and attractive dividend yields, which appeal to investors seeking income. And taking a closer look at the Best of Canada ETF suite, for telecoms, Global X offers Ring, RING. Covering Canada's food and retail staples sector, there's MART, M-A-R-T. Major insurers are included in SAFE, S-A-F-E. The oil and gas sector can be accessed through NRGY. Pipelines are covered by PPLN, and utilities through UTIL. And Global X has Canada's big banks covered with HBANK, H-Bank. Visit the Global X website today to find out more. What do you think about Canada's biggest companies? Let us know in the comments.